Hello everyone and welcome to Skein Spider. Today we are making the reversible Ditto slash Snorlax. This is the second pattern in this series. I've made the Jigglypuff previously, and what you will need to do is hop on over to that video. I'll pop a link in the description and make the Ditto from that video because I'm not including it in this video. Instead, you'll have to go over there, make Ditto, come back here, and then make yourself a Snorlax. In that previous video, I also asked you guys for some recommendations for other Pokemon that I can pair with Ditto. I have taken note of all the ones that have been suggested so far. I can't promise they will all get made, but there are definitely a few that I want to attempt, especially the evolutions. That's why Espeon's hanging out in the background here. If you have a suggestion of your own, make sure to put it in the comments and I will add that to the list. And after you've done that, we can get straight to this pattern. So grab your hooks and let's get started. To make a reversible Ditto Snorlax, you're going to need both a 3 and a 3.5mm hook, scissors, stitch markers, a needle, pins, stuffing, a pair of 14mm safety eyes for your Ditto, as well as 8-ply yarn in the appropriate colors for whatever Pokemon you're making. Before we get started here today, there is one thing that you will need to do, and that is to go and crochet yourself a Ditto. This pattern won't be included in this video. Instead, it will be in the original video, which was the Ditto slash Jigglypuff. And I'm not including it in this video because it's kind of pointless to make the same pattern over and over again several times, especially when I want to do a few varieties of these reversible Pokemon. So I'll put a link for that video down in the description so you can hop on over there and crochet yourself a Ditto first, and then come back here and make the Snorlax version. And for that, we're going to start off with the body piece. So I'll use my navy blue yarn here and my 3.5mm hook. And we're going to start off with round 1, which is 6 single crochet in a magic circle. Round 2 is 6 increases, and an increase is just 2 single crochet in the same stitch. I'll go into stitch number 1 from round 1, do my first single crochet. I'm going back into that same stitch and making a second. That's my first increase. I'm going to repeat this 5 more times. For round 3, we're going to start off by doing 3 single crochet. Two, and then 3, and then we're going to do 3 increases in a row. An increase in the next stitch, another increase in the stitch after that, and then just 1 more increase after that. That's our third. We'll then repeat the pattern we've just done again. We're going to do 3 single crochet and then finish the round with 3 increases. Round 4 is 2 single crochet and an increase repeated 6 times. Round 5 begins with 5 single crochet. We're then going to do 1 single crochet, 1 increase 3 times. 1 single crochet in the next stitch, first increase. Our second single crochet of the repeat in the next stitch, second increase. And then finally we're going to do our third single crochet of the repeat and our third increase. After this third increase, we'll then do 6 single crochet. And 6, Then we're going to do another repeat of 1 single crochet, 1 increase 3 times. And increase, and then after that third increase, we should have 1 single crochet left in our round, and we're just going to pop a single crochet into that. Round 6 is 4 single crochet and an increase repeated 6 times. Round 7 is very similar to round 5 in the way it's structured. So we're going to start off by doing 7 single crochet, then we're going to repeat 2 single crochet, 1 increase 3 times, follow this up with 9 single crochet, then 2 single crochet, 1 increase repeated 3 times again, and finish your round with 2 single crochet. Round 8 is 6 single crochet and an increase repeated 6 times. At the end of round 8, we should now have 48 stitches total in our round, and then rounds 9 through to 18 are each going to be 48 single crochet. So all up, that's 10 rounds of 48 single crochet. Round 19 is going to be very similar to rounds 7 and 5 that we did earlier, except in this case, we're not going to be stacking our increases on the side of the head. We're going to be using decreases. So round 19 begins with 9 single crochet, then we're going to do 2 single crochet, 1 decrease repeated 3 times, followed by 12 single crochet, another repeat of 2 single crochet, 1 decrease done 3 times, and then we're going to finish off with just 3 single crochet. Round 20 is 5 single crochet, 1 decrease repeated 6 times. The next few rounds that we need to crochet will finish off the head here, and that is so we can add stuffing and the head will be nice and firm. It won't be all flopping all over the place. However, if you want to make just a Snorlax plushie, you don't want to do the reversible Ditto, you just want the plushie version, you don't need to do these rounds. Instead, you will go from here, what we've just done, which is round 20, and skip to the body pattern, and I'll put a timestamp for that down in the description so you can just jump straight there. For those of you who are doing the reversible version, we're going to go on to round 21. And round 21 is worked entirely into the back loop, and the back loop is the part of the stitch that's furthest away from us, so at the back here. In the back loop only, we're going to do 4 single crochet, 1 decrease repeated 6 times. Round 22 is going to be 3 single crochet, 1 decrease repeated 6 times. But what I will do, and this is optional so you can do this if you like, is grab another stitch marker, and then in your first front loop, so in the last round, round 22, we worked 21. In round 21 we worked in the back loop only, and that leaves the front loops exposed. I'm going to put a stitch marker in that first one, just because later on when we've finished the head, we're going to come back to these front loops and we're going to crochet the body directly onto those. And this is just a way to mark where I'm going to start that. So again, it's optional, you don't have to do it. I just prefer to do so. And then we can get back to round 22, which again is 3 single crochet, 1 decrease, repeated 6 times. Round 23 is 2 single crochet and a decrease repeated 6 times. When round 23 is finished, we're going to add the stuffing, and as you are adding that, just keep in mind that this piece, it's not circular, it should be more of an oval shape. So where we stack those increases and the decreases on the side, they should be on either side of the head. After the stuffing's been added, we'll continue on with round 24, which is 1 single crochet, 1 decrease, repeated 6 times. And then the final round of the head, round 25, is just 6 decreases. When you're done with that, just finish off. And this doesn't have to be all that neat because this section is going to be hidden away and no one's going to see it. But I'm just going to cut a short yarn tail, grab my needle, and I'll thread the tail end through that. Then we're going to go under the front loops of the last 6 stitches. Start behind the front loop, push your needle under it and then forward towards you. Repeat this for all 6 of the remaining stitches. And then 6, pull on the yarn to close that up, and then just weave the tail end back into the body a couple of times. Now that we've made the head, we're going to go on and crochet the body. This first round of the body that we're going to do, which I'm just going to call round 26, following on from the last round of the head. I know it's not exactly in order, but I just find it a bit easier that way. But this is the round that you will need to skip to if you're just doing the plushy version rather than the reversible version. We're going to insert our crochet hooks into the first front loop. If you used a stitch marker to mark that stitch, that's where we're going to insert our hooks now. You're going to bring in the Snorlax coloured yarn, line that up behind your hook, pull that through the first front loop, and then slip stitch to join. This slip stitch doesn't count as a stitch in our round, so our first single crochet of round 26 is going to go straight back into that same front loop. 1, and then I'm going to put my stitch marker back into that single crochet I just made. For round 26, we will be working entirely into the front loops left over from round 21 of the head. We're going to do 8 single crochet, then 2 single crochet, 1 increase repeated 3 times, 10 single crochet, 2 single crochet, 1 increase repeated 3 times, and then 2 single crochet, 1 increase repeated 3 times. So we're stacking our increases on the side again. Round 27 is 6 single crochet, 1 increase repeated 6 times, and from here on out we're going back to working in both loops. Round 27 is 7 single crochet and an increase repeated 6 times. Round 29 is 54 single crochet. Round 30 is 8 single crochet as an increase repeated 6 times. Both rounds 31 and 32 are 60 single crochet. In round 33, we're going to increase 3 times instead of the 6 that we've been doing. So round 33 is going to be 19 single crochet, 1 increase repeated 3 times. Round 34 is 63 single crochet. Round 35 is 20 single crochet, 1 increase repeated 3 times. Rounds 36 through to 44 are each going to be 66 single crochet. From this point onwards, we're going to start our decrease rounds, and round 45 is going to be 20 single crochet, 1 decrease, repeated 3 times. Round 46 is just 63 single crochet. Round 47 is 19 single crochet, 1 decrease, repeated 3 times. Round 48 is 60 single crochet. From round 49 onwards, we're going back to decreasing by 6 every round rather than the 3 that we've decreased by in the previous 2 decrease rounds, which means round 49 is going to be 8 single crochet, 1 decrease, repeated 6 times. Round 50 is 7 single crochet and a decrease repeated 6 times. And now we're up to round 51, which is going to be our final round. When you get to the end of this round, just leave your hook in for the moment. Don't cut your yarn, don't finish off just yet, because there's a couple of things that we need to make sure of before we can do that part. So we're going to do 6 single crochet, 1 decrease, repeated 6 times for round 51. And once again, do not cut your yarn at the end of this round, at least not yet. And that is our final decrease. So I'm leaving my yarn as it is for the moment. I'm not cutting it. The first thing that we need to make sure of is that we have exactly 42 stitches in our round. So we should have 42 stitches at the end of round 51, because we should also have 42 stitches in the last round of our ditto. So we need 42 and 42 so they will match up correctly. The second thing that we need to work out before we cut this yarn is whether or not we'll be sewing on with this bit here, or if we've left the longer yarn tail on the ditto. So I made this one a while ago, so I actually don't even remember, but it looks to me as if I cut this yarn end and then weave that in. So I don't have a long tail on my ditto here. That means I'll need a longer bit of yarn here on the Snorlax so I can sew these 2 pieces together. It doesn't matter which piece, the ditto or the Snorlax, that you leave the longer end on, as long as one of them has that. Cut that now. And that is all we're going to do with our Snorlax body. While we have our blue yarn out, we're going to crochet the other pieces that require that color. But let me get this out of the way first. So that there. Actually, I prefer Ditto. Ditto can stay there. You can just hang out in the background. Okay, we're going to start off by making the arms, and you will need to make 2 of these. We're going to start round 1 of the arm with 6 single crochet in a magic circle. Round 2 is 6 increases. Round 3 is going to be the same as round 3 for the body. We're going to start with 3 single crochet, then do 3 increases in a row, and we'll repeat that twice. So we'll finish off the round with 3 single crochet, 3 increases as well. After round 3, we should now have 18 stitches in our round, and rounds 4 all the way through to 12 are each going to be 18 single crochet. Round 13 is 5 single crochet and an increase repeated 3 times. Rounds 14, 15 and 16 are each 21 single crochet. Round 17 is 6 single crochet and an increase repeated 3 times. To finish off the arm, we're going to crochet the shoulder part, but that's worked in rows, not rounds. We're going to do row number 18, again rows not rounds, and all row number 18 is 6 single crochet. That was 1. To start off row number 19, you're going to chain 1, we're going to turn our work, and then we're going to do 10 single crochet back in the opposite direction. You want to start from the inside of your work so far, so inside the arm, and then push your hook into that and away from you. So we're working from the inside to the outside. 1, 10. Then for row 20, we're also going to begin by chaining 1 and turning our work. This time we'll start off with a single crochet 2 together. To crochet that, go into the next stitch, yarn over and pull through, go straight into the stitch after that, yarn over and pull through again, and this will leave you with 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over for a final time and pull through all 3 of those loops. After we've done our single crochet 2 together, we should have 8 stitches left, and we're going to single crochet into each of those. Row 11, chain 1, turn your work. We're going to start with another single crochet 2 together, and then follow this up with 7 single crochet. Round 21 is our final round, and you'll want to cut yourself a yarn tail so you can sew the arm on later. The final pieces that we'll need to crochet in our blue are the ears, and like with the arms, you'll need to make 2 of those. We're going to start off with 6 single crochet in a magic circle. Round 2 is 1 single crochet, 1 increase repeated 3 times. Round 3 is just 9 single crochet. Round 4 is 2 single crochet and an increase repeated 3 times. And then our final round for the ear is going to be 3 single crochet, 1 increase repeated 3 times. And final increase, and that is the ear done. Like with the arms, we're going to leave a tail for sewing, and look at that. I win at Yarn Chicken today. So I'm going to pull that through. I'll cut that shorter later. And the next pieces that we're going to make are the legs. To make the legs, or the feet, whatever you want to call them, we're going to need both brown and cream coloured yarn. We're going to start off with the brown and then swap to the cream. So grab your brown. And we're going to begin by putting 6 single crochet in a magic circle. Round 2 is 6 increases. I've done 5 of my 6 needed increases, and I'm going to do the 6th now, but we will need to change colour in this stitch. I'll go into that 6th stitch, do my first single crochet of the increase. I'm going to go back in to do the 2nd stitch of the increase, so go into the stitch, yarn over and pull through so you have 2 loops on your hook, but you're not going to finish this stitch in the brown. Instead, drop the brown, bring in your cream yarn and line that up behind the head of your hook. You will yarn over in the cream, pull through the 2 brown loops on your hook and finish the last single crochet in that. So from here on out, we're going to be working in the cream yarn, and round 3 in cream is 1 single crochet, 1 increase repeated 6 times. I'm also going to be working over these tail ends to secure them, and I'll chop that off while I'm at it. In round 4, we're going to shape the foot a little bit, and to do that we'll be using half double crochets. Begin round 4 by doing 2 single crochet, 1 increase repeated twice. And then we're going to do 2 half double crochet, 1 half double crochet increase repeated twice. To crochet the half double crochet, begin by yarning over, then go into your stitch, yarn over again and pull through, and at this point you should have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over for a final time and pull through all 3 loops. That's our first half double crochet, and we're going to do another one in the next stitch. And then in the stitch after that, we're going to do a half double crochet increase. All a half double crochet increase is 2 half double crochets in the same stitch. Go into the stitch, do your first half double crochet, go back into the same stitch and do the second. And we're going to repeat that pattern again. We're going to do 2 half double crochet, 1 half double crochet increase. And to finish off round 4, we're just going to do 2 single crochet, 1 increase repeated twice again. Round 5 is just 24 single crochet. Round 6 is 10 single crochet followed by 2 decreases in a row and then 10 single crochet. And then round 7, which is our final round of the foot, is 9 single crochet, 2 decreases and 9 more single crochet. Tail for sewing. You will also need to make 2 of these, and then when that's done, we'll go on and crochet the face/body bit. You know, the bit in cream. I don't know what to call that. The body patch, the face patch. Okay, next up we have the belly slash face patch thing. And for that we're going to need our cream yarn. We will start this one off by making a slip knot and then chaining 11. Row 1, we're going to start in the second chain from the hook, and we will single crochet 10 single crochet back down along our chain. For row 2, we're going to chain 1, turn our work, start off with an increase in the first stitch, and like when we're working in the round, an increase is just 2 single crochet in the same stitch, and then we're going to do 9 single crochet. Row 3, chain 1, turn your work. This time we're going to do an increase and 10 single crochet. Row 4, chain 1, turn your work. This time we're doing 1 increase followed by 11 single crochet. Round 5 is chain 1, turn your work, 1 increase followed by 12 single crochet. Row 6, chain 1, turn your work, and this time we're doing an increase followed by 13 single crochet. Row 7, chain 1, turn your work, then we're doing an increase followed by 14 single crochet. When row 7 is finished, we should have 16 stitches in our row here, and then rounds 8 through to 15 are each going to be chain 1, turn your work, and 16 single crochet across. Row 16, chain 1, turn your work. This time we'll begin with a single crochet 2 together, and we crochet this exactly the same way that we did for the shoulder part of the arms. So we'll single crochet 2 together, and then we're going to follow this up with 14 single crochet. Row 17, chain 1, turn your work, single crochet 2 together, and then 13 single crochet. Row 18, chain, turn, we're single crocheting 2 together and then doing 12 single crochet. Row 19, chain 1, turn your work, single crochet 2 together and then 11 single crochet. For row 20, we're going to chain 1 and turn our work again, but this time we're going to begin and end our row with a single crochet 2 together. We'll start off with our first single crochet 2 together. Then we'll do 8 single crochet. And 8. And once you've done those 8 single crochet, you should have 2 stitches left. And we're going to single crochet 2 together across those. For row 21, chain 1, turn your work. We will single crochet 2 together, then do 6 single crochet and finish with a single crochet 2 together. That is the belly portion complete, or the body portion complete. We're now going to do the head section, and to do that we're going to begin increasing again. So for row 22, chain 1, turn your work. We're going to start with an increase, and again that's just 2 single crochet in the same stitch. We'll follow this up with 6 single crochet and 6, and then in the last stitch of the row we're going to pop in another increase. Row 23, chain 1, turn your work. This time we're going to do an increase, 8 single crochet and another increase. Row 24 is chain 1, turn your work, 1 increase, 10 single crochet and then another increase. After round 24, we should now have 14 stitches across, and rounds 25 through to 29 will each be chain 1, turn your work and 14 single crochet. Row 30, chain 1, turn your work. We're going to single crochet 2 together, then do 10 single crochet and finish on another single crochet 2 together. Row 31, chain, turn, single crochet 2 together, then 8 single crochet and another single crochet 2 together. What we're going to do now after row 31 is create the peaks on the top of the head. We're going to do this side first, then we'll cut our yarn, reinsert our hook back on this side and crochet the second to create the first peak. And I'm going to call this row 32 of the first peak, and when we come back to do the second one we'll start row 32 of that one again. So we're going to chain 1, turn our work and just do 5 single crochet and 5. So we've done 5 single crochet. This should leave us with 5 free single crochet. We're going to leave those unworked for now because this is where we're going to make the second arch later on. For row 33, chain 1, turn your work, single crochet 2 together, then do 1 single crochet and another single crochet 2 together. Row 34, chain 1, turn your work, single crochet 2 together, and then 1 single crochet. Row 35, chain, turn, and we're just going to do 1 single crochet 2 together. That is the first peak finished. What you're going to do is cut a short yarn tail. And with this yarn end, we will need to weave it in through the backs of the stitches to hide it, but we'll do that in a moment. For now, we're going to crochet the second peak. Insert your crochet hook into the very last stitch at the end of the row here. You're going to bring your cream yarn back in. Just line that up behind your hook, yarn over, pull through, and then I'm just going to slip stitch to join. This slip stitch doesn't count as a stitch in the round, so our first single crochet of row 32 will go back in there. And like we did with the first peak, row 32 is just 5 single crochet. 5, and I did work over the tail end from where I joined, so I'm just going to cut that off. Then we're going to do row 33, which again was chain 1, turn your work, single crochet 2 together, 1 single crochet and a single crochet 2 together. Row 34, chain, turn, single crochet 2 together and 1 single crochet. And then row 35, chain, turn, and just single crochet 2 together. For this second peak, we will be cutting an extra long yarn tail because we will be using this to sew on the entire piece. So this needs to be quite long. I'll give myself that. I'm terrible at judging how long to cut my yarn. So that's either going to be way too much or not quite enough. The final thing that we need to crochet in this video are the claws to go on the feet. And they look like this. If you would rather skip this part, you can just add some claws with white yarn later on. Also for this part, we're not going to be using our 3.5mm hook. Instead, this is the only part we need our 3mm hook for. So you want to jump half a hook size down from whatever hook size you were using for the rest of the body pieces. For the claws, we are going to leave a fairly lengthy tail to start with when we make our slip knot, because we're going to use both ends of this piece to tie them to the feet. So leave a fairly long tail, not massive, just long enough that you can tie a knot with it. Create a slip knot and then chain 3. 1, 2 and 3. In the second chain from the hook, we're going to do a picot stitch. To crochet that, we'll single crochet first, go into that second chain from the hook, single crochet, and then we're going to chain 3 again. 1, 2 and 3. Our next step is to single crochet into the back bump of the first chain that we've just made. If you look at your stitches or your chains from front on, you can see the little V shape that the front and the back loops make. If you turn those over, there is a little bump of yarn underneath those V shapes. This is the back bump. We're going to go into the back bump of the first chain. Under that, single crochet into there. And that's our picot stitch done. Then we're just going to single crochet into the first chain of the original chain 3 that we did, our foundation chain. So I'm going to jump down here and single crochet. And that's the claw. It should be a triangle shape. We're going to cut a relatively short tail here too. Also, before I forget, we need to make 6 of these. We're making 3 for each foot. Now we're finished crocheting, we've got all our pieces ready and we can put this thing together. We're first going to assemble the Snorlax and then we're going to sew the Snorlax to the Ditto. So you can hop out of the way for now. You can sit back in your spot over there. And what I like to do, this is optional but I think it helps, is to add some stuffing to your Snorlax. We will take this out later, but I find it much easier to sew all the features on. If you've got some resistance to work against, with your needle, I find it a hell of a lot easier to sew on that way. And you don't need to add a whole heap, you just want a little bit of resistance to help your sewing. The first thing we need to do is make sure that the head is positioned correctly. The head is, well, that's really close. The head should be wider than it is longer. So these are the sides of the head here. Once you've got that in the correct position, we're going to place on the patch that we made. You know what? I'm going to bring this out a little bit. This section here, between where the belly and the head meet, that is going to go between the head here and the body here. So we'll line that up right in the center. Again, we want to make sure that the sides of the head are here. And once that is in place, I will pin it on. Hang on a sec. Before we do that, I forgot we had to weave in all these ends. So grab your needle and just weave those in through the backs of your stitches. And then just go ahead and line that section up like I mentioned before. Pin that in place. Pin it in place. Come on. There we go. And then we're just going to press the rest of the piece flat against both the head and then the body, pinning around the edges as we go. When it's all pinned down, we're going to take that really long tail of yarn that we left and we're going to sew it on. So you're going to sew all the way around. When you've finished sewing, just weave the remainder of your yarn tail into the head and make sure it is into the head because we will be taking this stuffing out of the body. The next piece that we'll sew on are the ears. And with the ears, you want to stuff those just very lightly, and that actually goes for all the pieces that require stuffing, so the arms as well as the feet. Because the Snorlax is designed to be very tight fitting within the Ditto, if you add too much stuffing to these pieces, it can make it really difficult to turn inside out. So you only want to add just a little bit of stuffing to these to prevent that. So with the ears, I'm probably going to add only this much, even that might be too much. Yep, that's too much. I'll even half that again. And then we're going to place those on either side of the head. And when they're pinned in place, go ahead and sew them on. After the ears, we're going to add the arms. Like with those, we're just going to stuff them lightly. Just gonna steal a bit of this. We will need to add a little bit more stuffing to the shoulder, but I would recommend you sew on about 3/4 of the arm first, then add the stuffing and then finish your sewing. So the arms are going to go on either side of the body, and you're going to line the shoulder part here up with where the body begins here. So we decrease down for the head and then we increase back out again to start the body. It's on these increases that we're going to place the arms. I prefer to sew the arms on one at a time, so I'll do this one first, then the next one, because no matter how many times I try and do both or pin both at the same time, when I'm sewing one, the other always falls off. Therefore, it's only going to be one at a time for me. I'll begin by sewing across the top of the shoulder here, then I'll go down the side of the shoulder, up along the bottom of the arm here, and then back up the other side. Like I said before, if you want to add a little bit more stuffing to the shoulder, when you get to about this point, add just a tiny bit more. Again, we don't want to overstuff these. Add a little bit more and finish off your sewing. The next thing that we're going to sew on are the feet, but before we do that, we're going to put the claws on. Before you sew on the claws, make sure that those half double crochet that we did in round, I think it was 4, at the top of the foot, so they should be facing upwards like this. We're going to take the claws, we're going to place one in the center, and then one on each side, so there'll be 3 in total. Thread my needle with the longer tail end, and I'll do the center one first. And I'm going to place that right in the middle there. And I'm just going to sew that on. You only need a couple of stitches. And then once I've sewn that, I'll take this second end. This is the end we left when we created our slip knot. And I'm just going to push that straight into the inside of the foot, so you can see where my needle is emerging from. I'm going to pull that yarn end through, And then I'm going to take both of the tail ends, the two white ends, and tie a few knots. You don't have to do this step. You could just stop at the sewing and then weave the tail end in, but I find that this is just like a little bit of insurance to make sure that the claws don't come off the foot. Now that that's done, I'm going to do one here and one here using the same method, and then I'll add the 3 to this foot, and once that's done, we'll sew them onto the body. Now that the claws have been sewn on, we're going to add a little bit of stuffing to each of the feet. Like with the arms and the ears, we're only going to add a little bit. And then we're going to sew those on to the front of the body here. So one on either side of the patch. When you're sewing, make sure that you don't cover up the stitches of the last round of the opening, because we'll need those to sew the Snorlax onto the Ditto. So what I'm going to do now that I have sewn on the feet is just weave the tail end back into them. And now that we've sewn on all the pieces that we need to, we can take out this stuffing. Alright, one more step to go before we sew these two pieces together, and that is to add the details. What I'm going to be doing is adding the face markings as well as a couple of little nails or claws onto each arm. So I'll need my black and white yarn for that. I'm choosing not to do the Ditto face on my Snorlax just because when I was making like one of my prototypes, I didn't like the way that the small eyes looked, so I'm just going to stick with the normal Snorlax face. But if you'd like to change that up, do the Ditto version, you can do that. Alrighty, so I'm just going to thread my black yarn through my needle. Then we're going to take our needles, insert that somewhere into the head. It doesn't matter where you do this as long as it's away from the face. And we're going to push our needles out through where we'd like the first eye to start. So I'm going to go just here. I'm going to pull this black yarn through until just a little tail is left hanging on the outside. This end needs to be long enough that you'll be able to tie a knot with it, not any longer than that. From here, we're going to go straight across, so I'm probably going to go this far. I'm going to push my needle in there and then out of where I want the second eye to start. From here, I'm going to go down to where I want the mouth to start. And then when you've finished the mouth, so I'm going from here all the way across, we're going to push our needle out of the original stitch that we worked into, the one in the head. And then we'll go out of that original stitch. You want to make sure you go out the exact same one. Make sure your yarn is laying flat, so you just want to tighten up this yarn here by pulling on each end. Once that's done, you can tie these two ends off. I usually do 3 or 4 knots. Snip off the excess. And then we're just going to push that knot back into the body. And that's the face done. I'll add some teeth with my white yarn, and you do that using the same method. And I'm also going to use the same method to add the claws. So I'm just going to grab some white yarn, thread it through my needle, do the claws, tie it off, and then I'll repeat the process both on the second arm as well as here to make some little teeth. Alright, that is the Snorlax finally complete, and the final step is going to be to sew these two pieces together. What you want to do is grab whichever piece has the long tail end, in my case that's my Snorlax, and you're going to thread the tail end through that. Then take both pieces and lay them face down on the table with their butts facing each other. And all we need to do now is sew these two pieces together, matching up the stitches. So we have 42 stitches in our final round of the Snorlax and 42 stitches in the final round of the Ditto. So we're just going to sew them together 1 to 1. Going into the corresponding stitch of the Ditto, or as close as I can manage it. So that's stitch 1 of the Ditto. I'm going to go into stitch 1 of the Snorlax, and at this starting point I'm probably going to go around a couple of times just so it's nice and secure. So that's 1, and through the same stitches again, 2. I pull it nice and tight. Then I'm going to go into stitch 2 of the Snorlax, into stitch 2 of Ditto, pull nice and tight. Then stitch 3 of Snorlax, stitch 3 of Ditto, pulling tight again, and I'm just going to continue this all the way around. And I'm up to the last stitch, and like I did with the first, I'm just going to go around here probably 2 or 3 times. This is sort of the trickiest part, because what we need to do is weave in our end through the backs of the stitches, but on the inside. And because we've sewn these two pieces together, that's kind of hard to do. The best way to go about it is to just try and go by feel. So I'm going to be working into this row here. I'm going to push my needle through there and just try and work through the backs of my stitches. So I'm trying to pick up the yarn behind there, but keep it so you can't see my needle pushing through. Alright, so that's not bad, and then I'm just going to push this through. And now that I've worked through this row in this direction towards my left, I'm now going to jump up 1 row and work back towards my right. And I might do that 2 more times, just working back and forth, because we need to make sure this is really secure, because our two pieces will come apart if it's not. Alright, so that's done now. I'm just going to cut off most of it, and then the rest I'll just push back into my Snorlax here. Alright, and with that, we are finished. The final step is just to push our Ditto back into the Snorlax. And we are finished. Do keep in mind that the Snorlax is supposed to be a tight fit within the Ditto itself. So if you're going to try that next, it may require a little bit of effort. And having made several of these at this point, I do find it gets easier as you go. So as you can see, it's pretty tough to get in there. But after you do this, half a dozen times or so, the yarn stretches a little bit to accommodate the Snorlax better. I didn't position that head very well, but there. Well, that looks kind of inappropriate, and on that note, we are finished for today. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing if you haven't already, and I will see you all next week with a new pattern.